David, have you seen Desiree's pics from when we all went to the water park? They're so funny.
Hold up. Yes! The Alpine Splash. That's my fave.
These pics are so much fun. And look at Desiree. She's the best. Whoop, a reply from D. Love that ride. I'm hearting that. And a reply from Kobe Cinco Cinco. Go with the flow. Hearting that too.
Those pics are bringing back some memories.
They're getting lots of likes and comments.
Ooh, you got a shout out for your look of sheer terror.
Please, I wasn't scared. I was just talking and the camera got me with my eyes closed and my mouth open.
Sure. That must be why I still have marks from where you were gripping my arm like a boa constrictor.
Wait, there's a new comment. Uh-oh.
Oh no. Charlie's upset that she didn't get invited. But I thought she was out of town.
Well, I didn't know Charlie wasn't invited. I think her comment is starting some drama.
What do you mean by drama?
Like when things online start going badly and people start fighting.
Social media can turn into sort of a negative space when there's a lot of like anonymous posting. No one else knows who that person is, so it creates a lot of like tension and drama within friend groups.
In the comment sections of posts that, are viral or popular, I'll see someone voicing an opinion and all of a sudden there'll be a thread of even hundreds of comments, people just arguing and not even knowing each other.
You could get insulted very easily, like on your appearance, on your, just anything that you say, anything that you put out onto the internet.
Something so small can escalate to something so big, and as it escalates, the topic can completely change to something that's really big.
Okay, yeah. This whole post is swirling with digital drama. And the meanness is definitely starting to escalate.
I know, I feel like we need to say something.
Agreed. And all this drama actually brings up a much bigger question. How can we keep things kind online all the time?
Have you ever had to deal with any drama online?
Oh yeah. And sometimes it seems like it can happen for the smallest reason.
I have a couple friends who are very close, but they fight a lot. I'll get screenshots of their conversation from both of the people just being upset and sending long paragraphs about how upset they are. And instead of talking to each other about it in person, I've suggested to both of them multiple times.
I would say I'm more comfortable talking face to face because on social media, it's hard to communicate a sense of realness and emotions.
Well, back to the situation with Charlie. Maybe one thing we could try is...
Wait, it's getting worse. Some anonymous people are getting involved too.
And I just got an invite to follow GhostChar22. Did Charlie make a new account?
Don't accept the invite. Someone made this account to post embarrassing pics of Charlie. Poor Charlie, people are being so mean.
Yeah, this is starting to feel less like a few trolly comments and more like cyberbullying.
Is there a difference?
Well, one mean comment can be ignored or just shut down right away. But cyberbullying can be more serious. It's when people use tech to intimidate, hurt, and upset someone else. Basically, it's when digital drama goes too far.
It definitely feels like that's what's happening here. But I just don't get why people would say such mean things.
Well, people are more likely to do and say things online that they wouldn't do in person. They feel protected by being behind a screen.
That's exactly what's happening with Charlie and these anonymous posters. Some of these people might never run into her in real life, so they'll just pile on without seeing how sad, hurt, or scared she is.
Exactly. Online, it's easier not to deal with the consequences of your actions. You can just leave a chat, stop posting, or turn your phone off. But the person you're bullying or criticizing is forced to deal with all those awful feelings.
You sound very passionate about this.
I am. Part of it's from personal experience. My cousin is in a wheelchair, and I posted some pictures of us from our family reunion. Some anonymous comments came in making fun of her because of her disability. It was so incredibly awful. And a textbook example of hate speech.
I define hate speech as anything that's threatening or meant to hurt somebody else.
Anything you say or do that is kind of attacking any part of someone, whether it's what they look like, their beliefs.
I'm not sure of the exact definition of hate speech.
Any way you use your words to oppress or harm somebody else, it doesn't necessarily have to be a derogatory term or a slur. It could just be words that we use in our everyday sentences.
The meaning of it has become really vague, or at least really wide.
Someone is no longer just being offensive. when what they're saying is marginalizing or hurting a whole community of people. For example, their religion, their race. If that's what you're going for, that's no longer just you being mean. That's hate speech.
That is really upsetting. I'm sorry you and your cousin had to go through that.
Yeah. What helped in the moment is that other people started supporting me and drowning out the negative voices and making the situation better. We have to do something similar to help out Charlie before things start becoming hateful.
Wait, that sounds just like what Miss Collins taught us at school about standing up for your friends and classmates. We should show our support to the person experiencing the bullying and find ways to de-escalate the situation.
Yes, Skylar, that's how we do it.
Okay, I think the first move is to flag these comments about Charlie.
All these mean ones need to go.
A lot of cruel comments come from anonymous posters. They are definitely getting reported.
There's a lot of mean comments. This might take a while.
Yeah, well, you keep working on that. I'll DM Charlie to check on how she's doing and tell her we're here for support.
Good idea, Sky.
Hey, Charlie. We thought you were out of town, but we're here for you now. Send.
Now that we flagged these posts and messaged Charlie, I think we should get Miss Collins involved.
Good call. We can trust her to take this seriously. Plus, if this drama spills over into school tomorrow, Miss Collins will be able to help Charlie.
If you see cyberbullying happening, you should let people in your school and your community know about it.
Hashtag be kind. So back when this all started, when we saw the first negative comment, it was the exact opposite of kind and positive comments.
Get right in there and spread the love.
Right. You've got to remember to post positive comments to help cool things down.
We also need to report hurtful comments when things get too intense and ask for help.
And instead of waiting until things get bad, we all need to be kind online, especially if someone's being bullied.
Modeling kindness is one of the best ways to create a positive community. And when there's digital drama, it's important to be brave. It takes guts and it can feel scary, but standing up for the victim is key.
100%. And that's why I'm encouraging you to be brave and get back on that alpine splash.
Only if you'll sit next to me again so I can hold on to your arm.
You know what? The alpine splash isn't actually all that great after all.
Okay, guys, so that brings us to the end of the video. And now we're going to be moving on to do some discussion questions together and do some reflections. So I'm just going to pull that up now. All right. Okay, so this is the first handout. So I'm going to be reading some questions to you guys, and I'm going to give you a little bit of time to think about it and reflect. And you're welcome to share your thoughts or really anything that comes to mind. So, digital drama. So it's great to connect and communicate with friends online, but just like in the offline world, you might see people arguing or being mean to one another. In the video, as you guys saw, David and Skylar work together to help a friend that's experiencing digital drama and cyberbullying. In this activity that we're going to be doing together, we're going to reflect on how to communicate with others online. We're going to think of strategies that we can use to avoid digital drama and to make sure that we're connecting with others with kindness. So, the first step is we're going to do a little bit of a reflection. So we're going to think about the questions below, and we're going to consider how it applies to our life. So the first question is, have you ever experienced or witnessed drama online? And what happened? How did it make you feel? And did you tell anyone? Why or why not? So that's the first question. I'm going to move on to the second one and the third one, just so you guys can kind of think of things, and then we'll go on to answering them. The second one is, according to Skylar, David, and the teens from the video, why is it that drama can escalate online and become cyberbullying? And the last point is, what did David and Skylar do to try to de-escalate the cyberbullying? So those are the three questions. I'm going to keep them up, and I'm just going to give you guys a couple minutes to reflect, and then we're going to have a discussion together.
I've actually I've witnessed drama online, and it's actually quite similar to what the video was saying with David. When he mentioned it, it reminded me of the situation where one of my friends from my school had posted a picture with him and his brother at like a football game, and like unfortunately his brother is handicapped as well. And it resulted into a lot of nasty comments on that Instagram post. People were just making fun of like the brother, and it was all like anonymous comments. But I kind of like in my head, I assumed it was all people from like our school, because like who else could it be? But it was all anonymous comments. And I just remember like I remember like confronting the same friend at school like later down the week, and he did feel sad about it, and I just let him know that like I don't agree with it. So that's what I did to like at least like help a little
So
bit. But
support.
yeah, yeah, for support. But yeah, I remember that situation, and I felt really bad for him because they were making fun of his brother for like no reason. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so sad. But Jonathan, you did the right thing. Yeah, that's very sad though. People can be so nasty. Yeah, thanks for sharing that story. My goodness. Does anyone else have any stories or any thoughts on this? Or have you ever experienced any sort of drama or bullying online? Not necessarily yourselves, but witnessed someone else going through that?
Mm, I haven't experienced it, but I've witnessed online drama.
Mhm.
Like there's people on TikTok where they be just talking smack to each other
Mhm.
on the lives, and people be watching it, they be feeling it up and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Um and low-key, I feel like these people could be doing something else like
Yeah.
than arguing and trying to cause more drama because there's already a lot of drama in this world, so why
Oh,
you trying
yeah.
to like add more to it?
Yeah, that's actually such a good point, Brandon. I love that you said that, which is like, yeah, people could, they could be spending their time in better ways than like finding a reason to argue or bully others or just like cause drama. You're totally right. But yeah, some people just thrive on that, don't they? They just love that. So it's too bad. But yeah, I guess as long as, it's important to make sure that we're always staying respectful online and we're not, creating a dramatic and toxic environment. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, Brandon. That's really great. Does anyone else have any thoughts or maybe want to share their experience with cyberbullying or witnessing it before? Yeah, Brittany, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I had a personal experience, and this was when I was back in ninth grade, high school. Um, that's when the iPhone 7 came out, and I think it was the first time it came out in like different colors. It came out in pink, and I begged my dad to buy me one. And he's like, it's not necessary to get the most expensive one, right? I wanted the small one because I also like small phones.
Yeah, yeah.
And I finally got it. And I posted a picture with my own iPhone. I posted a picture of the box and on Instagram. I was like, oh, my first iPhone, and like a bunch of emojis being happy. And at this time, my profile was public on Instagram. And then some random person, they didn't even follow me. They just DM'd me. I don't remember the exact same words, but it was something along the lines of, hey, you shouldn't even be posting it if you only got the cheap one. You didn't get the best one.
Oh my
And I
God.
was like, that is so unnecessary because like
Yeah,
what is that to you? I'm here like celebrating something for me. And
yeah, yeah.
so like I blocked them and I just turned my profile to private. 'Cause
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Yeah, people will find any reason just to make negative comments, even when it's like, irrelevant, like a phone that you got, which literally doesn't affect them in any way. People
yeah.
will find something to comment on or to mention, but that's too bad. My goodness. People are just so rude. But thankfully we're learning from these experiences and we're not going to be like that because that's, really a poor reflection on their character and who they are as a person. So yeah, well, I'm sorry to hear that, Brittany. That
They were
sucks.
just jelly.
But there you go. Yeah, there you go, Brittany. They were just jealous of your beautiful phone. Exactly. That's great. Thanks for sharing that, Brittany. And I think that Jamal, you also had your hand up at some point. Did you still want to share something?
Sure, yeah. I haven't personally had any cyberbullying, but like whenever I think of online drama, I always think of Twitter. Like
Mm,
every time like there is drama, somehow Twitter gets involved. Like every time. So
yeah.
like I just kind of find it kind of odd that some like maybe like it could be just like inside drama and some just like outside drama. And I kind of like this, and I pretty much dislike that a lot because like most of the time it's not even anyone's business if it's like personal drama. But then when it gets
Yeah.
posted somewhere else, then that's where it becomes a big deal.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're right. Twitter somehow always seems to get into it. That's why I don't have Twitter because I'm like, I don't need to deal with all that. But you're right. Absolutely. It's definitely a platform that has a lot of drama, but I also feel like so does TikTok, so does Instagram. I feel like all of them do. So it's just, it's just about watching out and not even paying attention to it and always being kind and kind of learning from that. I just want to quickly as well mention what Ariel put in the chat box, which is when I first started college, there was an app called Fizz that allowed everyone from school to join and create anonymous profiles. Within 2 days, the app was filled with people's exposing others' secrets, oh my goodness, and spreading harmful rumors. It should have brought students together, but it tore them apart even further. Wow, that's really interesting, Ariel. So that app is called Fizz. I've never heard of it. My goodness. But yeah, you're right. That's the thing is people will find an opportunity to connect and turn it around and make it an opportunity to just like put each other down or make, negative comments or like you said, spill each other's secrets. Yeah, well, that's too bad. Hopefully you were able to report it or maybe even mention something to your teachers. Because I think that's important as well is let's say, you're in school and that's happening. It is important as well to tell a teacher, to tell an adult about it, just because they can kind of help to de-escalate the situation in case it were to become like an in-person type of situation, because it can go offline and become something serious in person. So yeah, thanks for sharing that story, Ariel. My goodness. Okay, so we'll move on to the second and third questions. You guys don't have to answer both. You can answer, let's say, one or the other. You can kind of combine them, whatever you're comfortable with, but I'm just going to read them out one more time. So according to Skylar and David and the teens in the video, why is it that drama can escalate online and become cyberbullying? So why do you think that it can escalate? What makes it escalate? And the second question is, what did David and Skylar do to try and de-escalate the cyberbullying? So what did they do to kind of like calm it down or I guess de-escalate it is the best word, like it says. So I'll give you guys a couple, maybe like a minute or two to think about this, and then we'll discuss together. So we'll start off with Jonathan, as usual. Jonathan, you're always great at starting us off. And then we'll just move on to if anyone else has any thoughts. So go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's actually, I got reminded of it because what Ariel said, because I remember that application Fizz.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
feel like the main reason why like all of that can escalate, I feel like is one of the like what she explained is that it's like anonymous. Everyone there could create anonymous profile pictures or like profiles and stuff. And I feel like just the fact that like just the being anonymous like gives like how the video explained it gives people like a shield, a sense of like being able to just say whatever they want. So yeah, I feel like just having that sense, like having an anonymity in those like sites, it can escalate a lot of drama because people can just say whatever they want. Yeah.
100%. I'm really glad you brought that up. Actually, that's a very good point. It's kind of like when you're hiding behind a screen. Like if it was in person, I don't think these people would be saying those things. So because they're behind that screen, they feel like it's like their face isn't associated with those comments, so they feel like they can say them more freely. So that's a very good point, Jonathan. Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge factor. Does anyone else have any thoughts or any comments? It doesn't even have to be fully related to these questions, but really anything that comes to mind. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like another reason why it could drama could escalate online and becomes cyberbullying is when I feel like they try to impress other people online and then they tend to just bash the other person just for likes and stuff, just to make other people laugh. And then that's when it becomes cyberbullying just to impress other people because maybe they're losing in the argument or they just want to bash the person just to get attention and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point as well. It's kind of like when you see like a comment and you see the comment has like 1,000 something likes and it's like a rude comment, but it's kind of like funny or it's insulting, but it's funny. And like you said, it's to get attention, it's to make people laugh when obviously in reality, it's not cool and it's not nice to obviously make hurtful comments to people. It doesn't matter if you can get like 1,000 likes from it. I don't really find that relevant. And I think that we all know that it's a a reflection of the person doing it. You know what I mean? So I think that it says a lot about them and their character, and it's not a good look. But you're right, Brandon. That's definitely a huge factor, is kind of getting that attention from others for sure. And in terms of de-escalating cyberbullying, does anyone have any thoughts on kind of like how you would go about that? So if you want to kind of deal with a situation of cyberbullying happening online, what would you do to kind of resolve that or to take some sort of action in that situation? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. I'm going to actually start off before we move on to Karen. I'm going to start off with Ashish's comment in the chat box. So he said, some ways to de-escalate cyberbullying is always reaching out to the person being cyberbullied and to be nice to them. It would also be reaching out to an adult since they can handle the situation way better than kids can. Yeah, that's a very good point, Ashish. Exactly. It's kind of what they discuss in the video as well, is yeah, like reaching out and showing support to the person that is experiencing that cyberbullying. That's definitely something that's very much appreciated by them. And like you said as well, is reaching out to an adult or to a teacher or someone that can help better de-escalate that situation. That's great. Karen, I think you had your hand up. You're welcome to go ahead.
Yeah, so something that came to mind was like on TikTok lives, they have like moderators. So I guess they would they'd filter like hateful comments that other people comment on lives, because I have seen that. But yeah, that's honestly helpful to de-escalate like cyberbullying.
That's a really interesting point. I've actually never heard of that. They're called moderators, you said?
Yeah.
Moderators. Okay. Well, I love that idea. I think that's a very good, idea on TikTok's part. Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like nowadays that's necessary as well because of the amount of comments that you hear and like the hate crime and just the cyberbullying. So I think it's definitely important that they start integrating that into place for sure. Okay, well, thank you guys for your comments and your discussions. That's great. We're going to move on to the second page of this handout. So basically in this part, we're going to be answering a couple questions together, kind of like we just did. We're just going to be brainstorming and having some discussions. Again, you guys are welcome to kind of make whatever comments you want. It doesn't have to be directly related to this. This is more to stimulate thought and stimulate conversation. So if you've ever had an experience before and you want to share it, or just any thought that comes to mind, you're welcome to do that. So this part, we're going to be practicing responding to cyberbullying and online hate. So in the video that we saw before, David and Skylar shared some tips for connecting with kindness. So we're going to complete the sentences below with strategies or actions that we could take if someone that we know is experiencing digital drama. So when I'm online, I can avoid getting into digital drama by, and then we're going to brainstorm. The next one is, if I see people fighting or arguing, I can de-escalate the situation by taking the following steps. And then the last question is, if I or someone else is experiencing cyberbullying, I can take the following steps. So a lot of these I think are very, they're very similar in the way that they're worded. So we can kind of talk about them, I'd say, as a whole. So if you guys have any thoughts, I would love to hear it. I'm going to give you guys maybe a minute or two to brainstorm. Okay. So let me see who raised their hand. All right, let's start off with Shirley. So Shirley, do you have any thoughts on any of these?
So I think for the third one, like if I or someone else is experiencing cyberbullying, a good way is to if you're on like a platform like TikTok, they have like these report, like you can, like if someone is saying something that's really mean or harmful, you can report them, and then you can basically let TikTok deal with their account, which is, I feel like, is a more rational way than just like saying something back at them, which is like better.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think as well, to add to that is like, if you were to try to say something back, sometimes that in itself could create like a whole other problem because they can just be trying to go back and forth. So like you said, Shirley, I think that's a great idea. It's just like going onto the platform, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is, and just reporting them, or like, let's say blocking their account or whatever it may be. I think that's definitely like a really good step to take if you're experiencing cyberbullying for sure. Thanks, Shirley, for your thoughts. That's great. And we'll move on to, I think that it was Brandon. Was it you, Brandon, that had your hand up? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I'll say for the first one, I'll say a way that you could avoid by getting into digital drama, is by just like maybe ignoring it, and just don't take it too hard, and just like be like, oh, this person probably has problems, so like he's just trying to, or she's just trying to put those problems on me, so why even bother?
Yeah, I love that point. As simple as it sounds, you're totally right, Brandon, because it's like at the end of the day, we can't control other people's actions. We can't control what other people say to us, but we can control our reaction to it. So I think a big part of it is not taking it personally and more seeing it as a reflection of who they are rather than a reflection of who you are. Because clearly, like you said, Brandon, they're having issues, or it's something that has to do with them, really. It's nothing to do with you. So that's a great point. I love that.
Yeah, and plus they don't even know you, so like Like,
Yeah, it's not
I don't
personal.
bother.
Exactly.
And I'll say like for the second one to like de-escalate the situation, I would say like maybe telling people to like chill, like y'all wouldn't be saying this to each other if y'all were in person.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because I feel like in person is like you don't see that person to person, like eye contact. So
Yeah, yeah,
and when you're on your phone, you don't see them at all. So I feel like it's easier to say stuff that you wouldn't be saying in person.
100%. Yeah, exactly. You're hiding behind a screen, basically.
Yeah.
So it's much easier to say things. Yeah,
hmm
sure.
And another thing, maybe like in the group chat, I would just be like deleting messages, like how like how in the video they were doing, and they were just deleting the messages. I would say that's another method.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing that, Brandon. A lot of really good thoughts that you're sharing with us. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's great. And I think as well, I'll just add to, for the last point, if someone's experiencing cyberbullying, I can take the following steps. So like we kind of touched on before, like reporting, you can also talk to an adult or talk to a teacher if this is happening in school. And also like Jamal, I think it was Jamal, or sorry, like Ashish was saying before, showing support to the person that's experiencing the cyberbullying. I think that's a big thing as well, just to make them feel like they're not alone and to show them that you are supporting them in what they're going through. So I think that's a huge part of that as well. Does anyone else have any thoughts? Actually, I think I see a comment in the chat box. So I'm just going to read out loud Ariel's comment. So she said that she notices a lot of people tend to interact or entertain drama when they see it online. I think that's a really good word, Ariel, entertain it for sure. Like Twitter, for example, if something's trending, other people will hop on to discuss what's trending, which creates more drama. So you can avoid drama simply by not interacting with any harmful or hateful online discussions. That's a very, very good point, Ariel. I love that. Not even interacting, not liking, not commenting, just staying away from it completely, I think is a huge, huge role and huge way to kind of completely avoid this digital drama for sure. And Ashish also said, I wouldn't even say anything since that's what the person who's cyberbullying wants. I would reach out to the person being bullied individually, saying publicly, hey, don't do this to this world would do nothing. Yeah, so that's a good point too, Ashish. I think it really depends on the situation. Kind of like what we were saying before, I think a lot of people, like kind of what Brandon was saying, a lot of people post things because they want the attention. So sometimes responding to it or giving it attention that's what they want. So at the end of the day, they're winning in that situation. But I think a big part of that, for example, is if you just want to completely avoid making a comment, you can just report them, or you can just, like we said, show support individually to the person that is experiencing the bullying. But like Ashish is saying, sometimes responding to it is actually what the person bullying wants you to do because they want that attention, they want those likes, they want those comments, etc. So that's a very good point as well. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, guys. Does anyone else have any thoughts about this before we move on? No? Okay, that's great. Great discussions. Thanks, guys. All right, so we're going to move on to the last part of today, which is that we're going to be just discussing quickly some tips for connecting with kindness. So the first tip is to pause, reflect, and to post positive and kind comments. The second one is to report, like we were mentioning before a couple times, to report any negative or hurtful posts, especially anonymous ones. The third point is to ask a trusted adult for help. That could be a teacher, that could be like your parents, someone that's an adult that would support you in helping that situation. It's important to reach out for help when you need it. And then the last point is to support the person who's being cyberbullied. So this can look like a lot of things, but I'd say a big point is just, reaching out to them, calling them, texting them, whatever it may be, just to show support, kind of like what Jonathan said he did in that situation, just showing support, telling them that, I don't agree with what happened. I support you. Don't take it too personally. Don't take it to heart. Sometimes that can make the world of a difference to someone. So, being kind is always the answer and it's always the right way to go. And I know you guys are all very kind people and very sweet. So I'm not concerned about it, but it's a good reminder for sure that we all need to be kind online because it's very easy to be nasty, but we need to just completely avoid those situations. So the first tip is to pause, reflect, and to post positive and kind comments. The second one is to report, like we were mentioning before a couple times, to report any negative or hurtful posts, especially anonymous ones.
The third point is to ask a trusted adult for help. That could be a teacher, that could be like your parents, someone that's an adult that you know would support you in helping that situation. It's important to reach out for help when you need it. And then the last point is to support the person who's being cyberbullied. So this can look like a lot of things, but I'd say a big point is just, reaching out to them, calling them, texting them, whatever it may be, just to show support, kind of like what Jonathan said he did in that situation, just showing support, telling them that, I don't agree with what happened. I support you. Don't take it too personally. Don't take it to heart. Sometimes that can make the world of a difference to someone. So, being kind is always the answer, and it's always the right way to go. And I know you guys are all very kind people and very sweet. So I'm not concerned about it, but it's a good reminder for sure that we all need to be kind online, because it's very easy to be nasty, but we need to just completely avoid those situations. All right. Well, does anyone else have any thoughts or anything that they want to add before we wrap up today? No? Okay. Okay. That's great. We're ending a little bit earlier than usual today, but that's all right. I'll give you guys back your time. Thank you for joining again. You guys did great. I always love hearing your thoughts and your discussion. So thank you for that. And we will see you at the next lesson. And before we go, I'm just going to quickly actually read to you what the next lesson is about. So the next lesson is on May 31st. So it's a week from today. And we're going to be discussing connecting with vigilance, cyber safety. So in the fourth lesson, students will learn how to protect their devices and privacy online. The session will aim to educate students on essential strategies to protect themselves, such as, covering topics, such as securing passwords, identifying phishing attempts, that's a big one, and also safeguarding personal information. So we're definitely going in a different direction next week, but that's kind of what we're going to be covering. And also, I'm not going to be the one leading. It's going to be Macaulay leading next week, just because I do have an obligation, but I will see you guys at the session after that, which is going to be on June 7th. Alrighty. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for joining. Bye,
Summer,
everybody.